Hello and welcome for my review of the last chapter 1052. So this chapter has been pretty much a follow-up on the events in Wano Kuni. I think this chapter didn't give us many big revelations. The chapter pretty much starts off with the Gorosei, the five elders, confirming officially and ultimately to the reader that Big Mom and Kaido are defeated. I think this is more or less a definitive end of this long arc, or maybe we can call it a saga. And this also gives us clarification that CP0 has been leaking the information and have been communicating everything that transpired in Wano back to the world government. Also, we get some confirmation on Ashura, Doji, and Izo having been the ones that it seems that have not made it out alive, which is kind of surprising. Maybe Oda chose to sacrifice the two out of the retainers that the reader had the least time to build up a relationship to. I think all of the other retainers, starting from the two Mings, the dog, the cat, Kinemon, and all the others, they were introduced much earlier, they had more screen time, and maybe this being a shonen story and Oda not feeling comfortable with offing these semi-important characters, chose to let go of those less important characters. But either way, it's more or less to show that this was a battle that wasn't fought without casualties. We have a fun but pretty anticipated interaction when we see Luffy and Zoro finally waking up, with the dynamic of the adult Momonosuke trying to cuddle himself into Nami's chest and not getting the kid treatment, to no surprise. We also got a drop kick from his little sister Hiyori. Interesting to me in that scene was that when Zoro woke up, that I was surprised that Oda just chose to let a week pass and Zoro wakes up alongside Luffy without any reference or without any tying into the situation of his seeming death, or that situation that followed after Zoro defeated King, where he lost consciousness and he was kind of hallucinating, and he had that vision of that Reaper coming after him. There's just that short comedic situation where Zoro says he came back from hell to fulfill his promise to Sanji, again highlighting the dynamic between these two characters. We also got a funny scene with the characters taking a bath. It seems Oda is playing a bit with that Okama gender switch idea, where Yamato, a biological, or at least her physical attributes indicating her to be a biological female, identifies more as a male, naming herself Oden. Her taking a bath as a biological woman together with the man willingly, and on the other hand having Kiku um, from the samurai, who clearly identifies as female um, instead of her supposed biological sex. This is kind of an interesting analogy, or maybe I should rather say a switch, having them parallel to each other, choose to bath with the opposite sex instead of their own, which is kind of a stark contrast to previous more comedic, more ridiculous depictions of characters who identified differently to their sex. Okama on Okama Island, Mr. Two, Bon Clay, or Ivankov. Should Yamato indeed become the newest member, the newest addition to the Straw Hat crew, it would probably be part of the running gags that make up the dynamic of the Straw Hat crew. Sanji trying to peek on the girls and having his nose bleed, then having a fight with Zoro, Brook bringing up a panty joke and making an angle, Usopp making some strange jokes, Luffy laughing in the background while he chews on meat and stuff like this. So I can imagine that should Yamato join the crew, ultimately, that Oda will probably choose to keep Yamato's personality this way and try to keep this dynamic going on for a bit, kind of like a running gag, like a joke. And the chapter ends with Apu on one of the giants approaching Kid and presenting to him the new bounties, which, as far as I've peeked into the spoilers for the next chapters, will be confirmed in the next chapter. I'm going to talk about the topic of bounties more in my next video. Also, we see the Admiral Green Bull approaching Wano in a way that seems to be flying through the means of a flower growing from his back, indicating some kind of devil fruit ability. And it's an ongoing theory in the community that Green Bull is related to Zoro, possibly being his father, as Zoro's age would not match up to be the son of Shimotsuki Ushimaru, who has in his personal name, his first name, Ushimaru, has the Japanese word for cow or bull inside, Ushi, which means cow or bull. Ushimaru, who we've seen in flashbacks in the Wano arc, was shown to be in his possibly late 40s, late 50s, 20 years ago, when he chose to go into a last battle with Kaido that we didn't see. So it's rather unlikely that this character is the father of Zoro. not impossible, but unlikely. So the theory is that Green Bull might possibly be the son of Shimotsuki Ushimaru and the father of Zoro, making it kind of fit in terms of numbers, in terms of age. I feel this theory is almost so predictable that Oda might choose to not have this come true. But I think it's for certain that this character has a relationship to Wano, considering that it is this admiral, or it seems to be this admiral, Green Bull, that specifically is coming back to Wano Kuni, and this character has all the time been theorized to have a connection to Wano Kuni, and also having this connection in his name. In addition to Shimotsuki Ushimaru having been shown with a bull on his kimono, strongly indicating a connection. But what the connection to Zoro is still up to theory. I think this will be cleared in the next 1, 2, 3 chapters. And this will lead up to a big revelation about Zoro. It will be very, very interesting to see what the connection is, specifically to Zoro, what Zoro's connection to Wano Kuni is, how this all ties together, and most importantly, what Zoro's role for the future of the series will be, as I have a gut feeling that this all seems to way too happy going, way too sunny, way too, hey, everything's good, everything's great, let's have a party. I feel there is another conflict building up, possibly a conflict resolving around Zoro. To talk about my theory, how I believe the rest of Wano Kuni will transpire, how the story will wrap up on this island, and how the story will move on, where the course will go, and what I believe will be the future of the Straw Hat crew, as I talked in one of my previous videos that I see a conflict coming up for the Straw Hat crew. Specifically a conflict resolving around Zoro. Thank you for tuning in, this time rather short. I think the next chapter with the, I assume, revelation of the bounties, the height of the bounties, the exact numbers, will give us more to talk about. Bye.